Welcome to the channel. My name is Cole, and today we're going to be taking a little road trip with the Honda Ridgeline. We're heading from Omaha, Nebraska down to around Dallas, Texas, an hour or two to the east. I'm just going on some public land doing some hog hunting. I loaded up the truck early this morning, just packed some bigger coolers, a few guns, and then my camping gear. I plan on being out there for a few days, so I've got a decent amount of gear. But I'm really excited for this road trip because I did just get new tires, so we'll go over my thoughts on those and how they're working. And I also want to pay close attention to the miles per gallon that I'm getting on this road trip. And I'm going to compare what the truck is telling me I'm getting for miles per gallon, and I'm also going to work it out on my own and see how that compares. So we'll see how the truck does. It's going to be roughly like 670 miles and 10 hours and 45 minutes on this trip. So we're gonna get her started. I filled up the truck with gas at the start of the trip, and we have gone 317.4 miles, and the truck is telling me that I'm getting 21.7 miles per gallon, but when I work it out myself on paper with 317.4 miles, I put in 15.313 gallons, and doing that math says that we've got about 20.73 miles per gallon. So it's a little bit off, 1 mile per gallon. So we'll keep an eye on that and see if that improves. Here we go. So we've got that full tank of gas, and we're just leaving Kansas now, entering Oklahoma. We've got 5.5 hours left yet, so we've actually been doing pretty good, and only 349 miles, so we'll be there before we know it. Technically it says that we could make it on this tank. The range is saying 361, but you never get that much, so we'll see what we get here. But the truck's doing great so far, and as I did mention, I'll go in depth a little bit more later on, but I did get new tires, and I cannot even explain the feel of these new tires versus the old ones. The old ones, I was feeling everything in the road, and it was just kind of rough riding. They were very, very well used though. I just filled up the tank again, and this time I filled up quite a bit earlier than last time. I only drove 235.1 miles, but I put in 12.038 gallons. And that equates to 19.53 miles per gallon. So a little bit worse than last time. And the truck was saying that I was getting 20.8. So about 1 mile per gallon off again. It has been decently windy on this drive, but not that much that I would think it would affect the miles per gallon that much. But we'll see what we get in this next stint. We're around 2 hours away from where I'm planning on setting up camp tonight, and once we get there I can show you guys the new tires, tell you a few things that I learned at my appointment at Honda, and I'll just show you guys the truck and a little bit of off-roading. just got done with my hog hunt, so sorry if I look disgusting. I haven't showered in over 6 days. So anyway, with the last tank of gas that I was on, I'm not going to count that. I'm just going to completely scratch it because there was a few times where I would drive just a couple of miles to different spots of the public land that I was hunting, and then I would just like sit in my truck for 20 minutes, half an hour sometimes, just because it was mid-80s and I was profusely sweating. So it would not be fair to count that because right now it's saying I'm getting 14.5, which is not accurate whatsoever. So once I run into a gas station, I'm going to fill up the tank and we'll just start that part over. And I'm just gonna refigure for the total of the trip. I'm just gonna completely just take that part out, but I'll still add up the rest of it. That makes sense. So it'll end up being like 1,200 some miles. But that is my current plan. So we'll go from there. I just filled up the tanks. We've got a completely full tank to start off with, and I did reset both the A and the B trips. So we'll be ready to start over and be able to calculate our miles per gallon that way. I did want to talk to you guys about the new tires that I just got. Not a sponsor, anything like that, but I decided on the Falken WildPeak all-terrain trail tires. And I decided those, some people recommended them in the comments. I looked through a lot of different tires that people recommended, but I decided on these ones because, well, first of all, I was able to get them at the Honda dealership where I normally bring in my truck, and they just had really good reviews. I looked into them, looked at a ton of different reviews, and nobody had anything bad to say about them. I think they're going to be good in the snow. I know that they're good in the mud just from using them on this trip, in sand as well, gravel. And yeah, hopefully, well, I'm kind of sick of the snow to be honest, but I'm going back to Nebraska now, but hopefully there will be one more snow. Wouldn't be absurd if that happened. It happens quite often that there's an April snowstorm, so we'll see on that one. And size-wise, I was gonna go up from the factory size that they give you when you buy the truck, but all the reviews that I was seeing, like some people would say that if you go up one size, they might be okay, but that's not gonna make too much of a difference at all, like looks-wise or height. So I was gonna go up 2 sizes to, I think they're like 65, something like that. I don't remember what the exact numbers are, but then people were saying that they end up rubbing when you're turning, or if you've got a certain amount of weight in your box or in your cab, and they had to cut out some of the wheel well and cut off different things. And after thinking about it, I just thought that it's really not worth the risk of having to like alter stuff like that on the truck, especially when your truck's like a little bit newer. I feel like it's not a great idea to be cutting things out of it. And you know, it's mainly just for looks because it's not going to change the height of the truck by too much. And it'll also make your speedometer be off a little bit, which kind of stink, and it might wreck how it rides as well. But anyway, yeah, so I just went with the factory size tires, and they seem to be working awesome so far. I've already got like 12 hours of driving on them. I got them the day before I started this trip, which I really needed them actually, because my old tires, they were super bald. I was scared to take them 11 miles to work. So I got these guys just in the nick of time. So yeah, I got 48,000 on those other tires, and they were the ones that came from the factory with my truck, which happens to be Black Edition. I don't know if they give you different tires with the different models or not, but yeah, they were great for a long time. I do notice with these Falken tires, I don't know if it's just because they're new tires and my other ones were so bald and so terrible at the end of their life that with those tires I could feel every little bump on the road, and with these tires I feel like I'm like floating for some reason. It just really, really comfortable and really smooth as well. Going over bumps and cracks in the road, it doesn't bother me whatsoever. So really enjoying them so far. But yeah, if you guys have any questions on those, just let me know. Happy to answer anything you guys have. I was using my old tires throughout the entire winter in Nebraska, and there was a few snowstorms. I had one video that was me driving in the snow. And I remember my first year having the Ridgeline. I loved driving in the snow. It did super, super well. But this past year, it didn't do all that great. But it was obviously because of my tires. I didn't even realize they were that bad, but they were bald. So I was slipping and sliding, and yeah, it just wasn't what I remembered. So I would really like one more snowstorm just to test out the new tires, because I'm sure it's probably better than the factory tires that came on it, and this thing would be a blast to drive. So one more snowstorm, then I'm ready for the summer. The spring, I guess, first. So I'm still driving in Texas, and I just had a kind of a weird interaction with a sheriff. He was driving like 75 or 76 in a 75, so I was just going a little bit faster. I was driving 78, which is 3 miles an hour over the speed limit, so I don't think it's a big deal. But every time I would like try to go around him, he would like floor it to probably like mid 80s, and then the last time he just like turned his head and like stared me down. It's really, really odd. Welcome to Texas, apparently. But I think it's due to my plates. I've got my truck registered in Florida, and people don't seem to like the Florida vehicles. That's an example. And then when we went into Canada, we were going from Montana into Canada to go to Banff National Park, and the lady was asking me about where I was from and all that stuff, and I said I'm from Minnesota, and just explained that we moved to Florida for a couple of years and all that stuff. And she wasn't joking, but she said, since I'm from Minnesota, it's okay, but if I was actually from Florida, they would have like completely searched my vehicles and like looked for guns, because she said that those Florida people are obsessed with their guns. So I feel like I get judged by my license plate. Something that I thought was interesting on my last stop at that Honda dealership, where they're just changing out the tires and then changed my oil as well. They never mentioned any of this before, but they added 3 new things that I should have done or should have had done. Under the hood, it's got replace engine coolant due every 45,000 miles. So they just put that on the list, didn't really say much else. I'm currently at 48,000 or 48,500. So that is something I thought was a little bit interesting. So I'll probably have to do that shortly in the future. And then another thing was the rear differential service. So I guess you're supposed to do that every 30,000 miles. And I don't read through the owner's manual at all, so I was unsure about that as well. And then the transfer case service, that's due every 30,000 as well. And I'll put that up on the screen just so you guys can take a look at that. But that is recommended by Honda, is what they said. So just something to think about, which I'll probably just have all those things done next time I go to the dealership. And all that will total up to being like $360. So kind of sucks, but gotta maintain the vehicle. And let me know if you guys have replaced those fluids or get that all checked out, or what your thoughts are on it. I'd appreciate it. Just got done filling up again. Put in 13.452 gallons. And, I need to reset that. And on trip A, we went 312.3 miles. And my vehicle, please see, man. My vehicle's saying that I'm getting 24.2 miles per gallon, but when I work out the math, it's 23.2. So it seems like it's consistently 1 mile per gallon off. Not terrible. But yeah, 23.22 miles per gallon. That's nothing to complain about. And I've got a decent amount of weight in here. Well, I guess it is just me though in the cab. I don't have that much weight in here. But I am struggling a little bit to fill up gas because apparently somebody in Florida stole my credit card numbers and bought $1,000 worth of Busch Gardens. It's like that amusement park place. So all of my cards have been canceled now. So I just have to figure out how I can pay at each pump. It's kind of a pain in the ass. But I'm gonna drive this tank. We've still got 5.5 hours left. That's not too bad. 342 more miles. Let's see if we can make it on this tank. My range is 341. Might have to crawl that last mile. Here we go. We're almost there. So I did end up making it all the way back to Omaha, my final destination, with that single tank of gas, which I was actually joking initially. I didn't think I'd make it that far, but I got really good gas mileage on the way back. My vehicle was saying that I was getting 25.1 miles per gallon because I did go 340.6 miles. And with the pump, I just filled up with gas. I put in 14.162 gallons, and the way I work it out was 24.05 miles per gallon. So that's good. 24 miles per gallon. And then once again, it's about a mile per gallon off again. And I just need to find my other sheet, and I'm going to add up all the miles and all the gas that I put in and just figure out what I got for miles per gallon overall. I added up all of the miles and all of the gallons of gas that we used throughout the trip, excluding that small portion of the trip that I didn't feel that was fair to count because I was just sitting in the AC trying to cool down. The total amount of miles that we traveled from Nebraska to Texas and back was 1,205.4 miles, and it took us 54.965 gallons to get there. So when I do that math, it ends up being 21.93 miles per gallon, which I don't think is too bad. So pretty much 22 miles per gallon. It was a fair amount of interstate, but also a fair amount of highway as well. I would say probably half the time I was going 77, 78, and the other half I was going about 62. So overall, I would say I am pretty happy with the miles per gallon that I got on the trip, and the truck did awesome. The tires were also very, very nice. A pretty big upgrade from my worn down tires. So definitely check those out. Once again, I'm not sponsored by them or anything, so check them out if you want. But I do have a favor for you guys. So in the future, I'm planning on making a video where I just do an entire video just based on questions from you guys, because there's been a fair amount of questions in the comments just asking things that I don't know about the truck. Like somebody was asking if you're able to store guns in the compartment, like the bed compartment. So I don't know if they'd fit. So like I'm gonna test that out. Another person was asking if you can fit a cooler in there. There's just been various questions that I'm unsure about, but I would enjoy testing them for you guys. So I'll just go through all my past videos, take the comments from there and questions. And if you guys just wanna load up this comment section, that would be awesome. Thank you guys very much for watching, and we'll see you next time.